Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on how the Nelson Mandela Foundation is being turned into a pro-terrorist, anti-Christian and anti-Jewish organization. Now listen, a couple of things. Nelson Mandela wasn't an angel. He was in actual fact a terrorist according to the definition of what a terrorist is. I'm not here to argue that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, whether he was fighting for good, whether he was fighting. That's not the argument here. He did spend 27 years in jail for what he did. So the argument on whether Nelson Mandela is a good guy or a bad guy, I'll leave that up to you. That's not the point of this video. Secondly, the Nelson Mandela Foundation exists to improve the lives of people around the world. Fundamentally, it's an organization that is there to fight for improvement of the basic rights that people should have, right to water, right to electricity, right to just the best possible scenario that you can have. So the foundation has, on some occasions, been a little bit controversial, but fundamentally the organization is there to fight for what is good and to fight for those that can't fight for themselves. However, there is now an individual that is the chair of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, and her name is Naledi Pandor. Now Naledi Pandor, I don't really have to go into too much detail with how she has consistently been on the side of terrorists, whether it is phoning the leader of Hamas 10 days after one of the most brutal attacks ever by Palestine on Israel, or whether it is speaking to Iran and in essence supporting Hezbollah based on the fact that we know that the support of Iran therefore means the support of Hezbollah. So you can go and do your own research with regards to Naledi Pandor, but it's very clear that she is against Israel, and now that she is even against Christianity. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look at what the Nelson Mandela Foundation is now offering in the form of a bursary or a donation towards causes. That's right. So there's a call for proposal, Solidarity and Action Awards. Now, just the background. In our pursuit of a lasting, peaceful and just solution for Palestine, the Foundation has engaged in a series of dialogues. Through these engagements, the topic of Christian Zionism has repeatedly emerged as an important issue that needs to be addressed. Amid the unrelenting and punitive violence in Palestine, Christian Zionism, a theology that conflates biblical prophecy with political support for Israel's settler colonialism, remains a driving force in legitimizing occupation, apartheid, and genocide. I mean, yeah, all I'll say is that you already know that it is starting off very rough when she is only telling one side of the story. What about the 1,400 people who were brutally murdered and the women that were brutally raped by Hamas on the 7th of October? Because guess what? Naledi Pandor has not once condemned Hamas for that action. That's right. But that's neither here nor there. So deeply rooted in colonial history and amplified by global networks, this ideology has been a barrier to achieving peace and justice for Palestine. The misuse of religious scripture to justify domination and discrimination is something we know all too well in South Africa. Here comes the apartheid excuse. In the South African context, Christian scripture was similarly misinterpreted and weaponized to reinforce the apartheid regime and justify its crimes against humanity. With the aim of strengthening solidarity efforts both locally and globally and fostering transformation leadership in this space, the Foundation is launching the Solidarity and Action Awards. The Nelson Mandela Foundation invites individuals, organizations, networks. So in essence, they're inviting people who can apply eligible activities, proposal requirements, application process, and then it talks about the value of the award. The maximum award amount of is 150,000 Rand per initiative. There is no minimum amount. The number of awards that will be given will be based on the budget. We don't know what the budget is yet, but we're assuming it's going to be quite a chunk of money. Now, here's just a confirmation that Naledi Pandor is the chair. She is on the board for the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And as you can also clearly see, the former president, Motlanthe, is on this list. But yeah, Naledi Pandor joined in 2024, and you can clearly see the focus suddenly on terrorist organizations. Of course, her being the big anti-Western person that she is, it's not lost on us that her daughter is a major tech CEO now in the United States, focusing on her AI company. So yeah, it seems that Naledi Pandor, she only focuses on it, but when it comes to her family, then she's fine with, Western ideology. All right, so just to put things into perspective, Naledi Pandor joined the Nelson Mandela Foundation in 2024, and ever since then, she's been obsessed with trying to make terrorist organizations not look like terrorist organizations. In essence, she has now been on a fight against Zionism, against Israel, and against Christians now with this offer. Because this offer is trying to discredit Christians for believing what they believe, and also against Jews for believing what they believe. Now this, like I said earlier, is coming from a person that not once acknowledged that 1,400 people were brutally murdered on October 7th. Her journey seems to focus on the day after and the retaliation from Israel towards Palestine and Hamas. But not once did she condemn the actions of Hamas. In actual fact, 10 days after the October 7th attack, she phoned Hamas and sent the condolences and spoke about all these terrible things that Israel's doing. But not once did she condemn what Hamas did or Palestine did. And not once did somebody that has been such a proponent against rape and against sexual abuse against women. Not once did she mention the numerous individuals that on October 7th were brutally raped and sexually assaulted by Hamas individuals. So I don't really understand where all of this is coming from, other than her just wanting to make Hamas and Hezbollah look like they aren't terrorist organizations. I mean, the simple fact, if we just go back, that you want to offer 150,000 Rand to pretty much fight Christian Zionism and pay people 150,000 Rand per initiative. And then that there is the number of awards will be given based on the budget. So there isn't a limit as such right now, depending on the budget. But in essence, she is now fighting Christianity and she is fighting Judaism, all for a cause that firstly does not give women their rights, and secondly wants to kill people purely because they believe in something that they believe is what an infidel is. So ultimately, I think that the Nelson Mandela Foundation is going to lose all credibility that it might have enjoyed with the international community, because the only people that will side with this type of initiative are people that support terrorist organizations. Because ultimately, Naledi Pandor is very quick to tell you everything that Israel's doing wrong, but you'll never look at Palestine and at Iran and talk about their human rights violations, specifically against women. And yet she is somebody that apparently stands up for women's rights. Yeah, right. Whatever. So to end off this video, I just want to say that this is really shocking from the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And it is unfortunate that somebody like Naledi Pandor is using the name of Nelson Mandela and its foundation to further a narrative to support terrorists, because ultimately that is what it is. And then on top of that, to fight Christianity and to fight Judaism, it is just abhorrent. And I really hope that people are vocal in condemning not only Naledi Pandor, but also the Nelson Mandela Foundation for what they are doing here. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, hit that bell icon so that you can be notified of my future uploads. Lastly, if you enjoy my content and you enjoy this channel, then please consider becoming a member. You can do so by clicking the join button below. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Till later, cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. I wear my